You're right. President Trump was in office when the COVID virus was released from a lab in China, from the Wuhan lab. And he tried to make that very clear that this came from China. And reporters regularly dismissed that.
I appreciate the gentlelady's passion. There are two facts that she should perhaps be alerted to. One is that Donald Trump, on more than 20 different occasions, defended the performance of the Chinese government, and specifically President Xi.
Okay, it's one thing for MVP Jamie Raskin to destroy Lauren Boebert using facts, but it's another when those facts happen to be the words of her favorite cult leader, Donald Trump.
And he tried to make that very clear that this came from China.
On more than 20 different occasions, defended the performance of the Chinese government, and specifically President Xi, in terms of his treatment of COVID-19, and said he was doing a wonderful job and a great job, and they were working closely and they were constantly in touch.
I spoke with President Xi. We had a great talk. He's working very hard, I have to say. He's working very, very hard. And if you can count on the reports coming out of China, that spread has gone down quite a bit. The infection seems to have come down over the last 2 days.
So if there's a problem with the Chinese government unleashing a virus which has not been proven anywhere, but it certainly could be true, you would have to pin that on your favorite president, Donald Trump, not on Joe Biden. The second thing is President Trump's own special advisor on COVID-19, Deborah Birx, I'm sure you're aware, and I'm sure you've read her book, said that the lethal recklessness of Donald Trump's policies about COVID-19 cost Americans hundreds of thousands of lives. So you don't have to believe anybody on the Democratic side of the aisle. That's Donald Trump's own special advisor on COVID-19.
Maryland Democrat Jamie Raskin was on fire today, using his time ruthlessly to come for everyone from Trump.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I feel like our dialogue is getting somewhere. I was very moved by the comments of Ms. Mason, the comments that followed hers, but I think the burden of their statements was simply that politicians try to get the media to do their will all the time. And I cheerfully concede to that proposition. In fact, we proved that in the last hearing when we showed that Donald Trump on numerous occasions tried to get Twitter to take down people's material that he considered offensive. A famous actress called him a PAB. I won't spell it out in the interest of modesty, but he didn't like that. And then the White House repeatedly called Twitter to say, take it down. He tried to get Disney to take down the comments and to admonish and castigate certain late-night comedians who he didn't like. So if the point is, as my friend from South Carolina was saying, well, this goes way beyond Twitter and Facebook, certainly it does. This problem goes way beyond it, and that's why the majority needs to think long and hard about going down this road.
To Fox News,
the legislation conveniently moves to redefine censorship from meaning government suppression of private speech to meaning private entities regulating their own speech content and speech platforms. This move is radical indeed. We usually do not say that newspapers and TV networks censor themselves when they decide to put one thing on the air instead of another. Indeed, even with the recent shocking disclosure of internal conversations showing that Fox News anchors like Tucker Carlson completely knew that Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and Donald Trump were lying about their ridiculous 2020 election claims and called them behind the scenes insane, absurd, shockingly reckless, and dangerous hell, but then credited those claims on air. Nonetheless, it would still be strange to say that Fox News was censoring itself.
And then a takedown that was only missing a camera on the chairman of the committee. An epic, surgical-like retort to claims of people using their office to intimidate private businesses.
Twitter and Facebook. And if we're going to confront this problem of people using their public offices and state power to try to intimidate, then let's do it in a comprehensive way. Let's take an example, Mr. Chairman, that you'll recognize immediately. Over the weekend, you appeared on Newsmax, and you boasted that you had told AT&T, a private company, that they needed to restore Newsmax to carrying DirecTV or face the consequences. To quote you verbatim, quote, "I'm very upset that DirecTV doesn't have Newsmax on there. I've been in constant communication with the leadership of AT&T and DirecTV. I've strongly encouraged them to meet with your CEO, Mr. Ruddy, to get this worked out, or else. Or else. Now, I have no opinion about whether or not AT&T should carry Newsmax. Apparently, it was purely a business decision, according to the Wall Street Journal, and I'll ask unanimous consent to introduce this editorial by the Wall Street Journal called "The Right's Wrong Attack on DirecTV over Newsmax. A commercial dispute isn't about censoring conservatives."
Without objection.
So we can submit that. There was also a letter written by 42 of our colleagues, including the chairman, directly to AT&T, demanding that they carry Newsmax. Now, and the premise of it was there was some kind of left-wing conspiracy or so on, and the Wall Street Journal completely debunked that, saying political coercion of business is as distasteful from the right as it is from the left. But if threatening official coercive pressure like this, follow our orders or else, applied against not just private social media entities, which is what they're proposing in this bill, but against any media entity, it would transform politics in America in the meaning of the First Amendment. But if we're going to do it, let's do it. And the First Amendment says if this is going to apply to the internet, if it's going to protect Twitter, arguably, which is the conceit or pretense of this bill, it should also protect AT&T against getting coerced into making a deal it doesn't want to make and spending millions of dollars it doesn't want to spend with Newsmax.
Now here's the thing, what I love about today's masterclass though, is it shows that Raskin goes above and beyond the low-hanging fruit of Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, because he's there to offer a dose of truth to every single lie that Republicans try to perpetuate. And well, the man comes with receipts, regardless of who's caught in the crosshairs.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.